Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have we been browbeaten about Chicago being just a horrifying place? Horrifying. Despite the fact that all of the data shows that crime in the Black community overall is on a major decline. There's hardly no crime going on. But according to these non-Black people, Chicago is just this horrifying place. Oh, Chicago. Oh, Chicago. Black on Black crime in Chicago, right? Now, crime is down 75% in the Black community. Chicago does not even make the top 10 worst cities in America. It's not even listed as the worst city on earth. I went over that video that showed you the worst cities in the world. Chicago is not even among the top 10. But all of these people that don't even live in Chicago and know nothing about being in Chicago are telling us how bad Chicago is. Now, if that's not laughable in itself, I don't know what is. But let's look at recent data that came out about Chicago. April 1st, April 2nd, March 30th. We are now seeing data coming straight out of Chicago. And all of the data is saying that crime is down. Fewer shootings, fewer robberies are all taking place in Chicago. But not to the people that want to tout this stuff to us. No, Chicago bad, Chicago bad. And you know what? You know what's funny? Because of the opioid plague, I bet you crime is bad in those suburbs and these rural areas that these folks live in. It's probably far worse than Chicago. So let's look at some of the headlines. Violent crimes drop and fewer shootings reported in 2018, Chicago police say. CPD releases March crime statistics touting 15% drop in overall citywide crime. Chicago crime drops for 13th straight month. And I want to thank our queen, the True Royal Family, for also doing a story on this. Shootings, homicides, and overall crime totals in Chicago are down in 2018 compared to the first quarter of 2017. The police department announced Monday. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson says the city has now seen reductions in gun violence for 13 months in a row. That's pretty significant. Gun arrests are up in 2018 over the same period last year, while reports of violent crime have fallen by double-digit figures. That don't sound like no out-of-control place like you white people keep trying to say. How come all of the data is saying crime is down in Chicago and y'all running all over the U.S. talking about crime is horrible in Chicago? How come what you're saying don't match the data? There have been 22% fewer homicides and 25% fewer shootings citywide this year, according to department data. Aggravated battery reports are also down 5%, and total crime is down 15%. And as you can see on this chart right here, they're saying there's 17% fewer shooting incidents in March 2017, and there were 25% fewer Murders in 2017. Year to date, Chicago has seen a 22% reduction in murders and 25% reduction in shootings compared to the same period in 2017. Citywide robberies down 14% year to date. Total citywide crime is down 15%. Year to date, CPD has recovered over 1,900 guns, up 3% over last year. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a video on here that I want you to see. And crime in the city, the black cities, where the inner city where black people live are down 75%. Crime is down in the black community 75%. But yet we got white people running around all over the place talking about how horrifying everything is. See, it's all about image. And if you own the media, you can destroy a person's image and make them look bad to the world. But when you go and look at the actual numbers and the reports, it's contrary to everything that they're saying. Why is that? Why is what they're saying complete opposite of what the data actually says? Why? White supremacy. That's why. They have lived their whole existence in America on white supremacy. And white supremacy is designed to destroy us and destroy our image and anything about ourselves. So, what have they done? They have used that white supremacy to constantly be negative to the Black community. And this is why when we say separate, it's not a physical separation. Of course, you got to do that, but it's a spiritual disconnect from those that are hell bent on trying to harm and subjugate us and keep a negative light on us. We don't need to be around these people. Let them go. Let them go. I promise you, you won't miss them. Johnson held a press conference Monday morning at the 3rd District Grand Crossing precinct, an area that has outpaced city numbers in its crime reduction, with drops of 59 and 29% respectively in shootings and homicides. Far differs from what we hear from the media, isn't it? And from these people that keep coming on our channels trying to tell us something that we know is factually untrue. He pointed to investments in small policing, like data-driven crime prevention strategies, and the expansion of strategic decision support centers throughout the city as being among the main reasons for the decline. One thing I can say about just my experience being around Black people, whenever you are around somebody that's young and unruly, a lot of times once those men and women hit about, I would say like around 25 years of age, that's when maturity starts setting in. And all the things that they once did, they start letting it go because they realize those things are not important. Being unruly is not going to put food on the table. It's not going to get you a job. It's not going to do anything that's sustainable, that's going to help you and your family. So a lot of times, once they mature and realize these things, they start letting all that crap go and they start growing up. I've seen this in a lot of Black men and women in my lifetime. The ones that you've seen as teenagers acting out, a lot of times they'll straighten up once they reach a certain age. And it's usually like early to mid 20s when they start coming into themselves and you start seeing changes in them. All right, back to the story. While I'm very encouraged by our progress and the work of our officers, my message here today is we still have a lot of work to do, Johnson said. We'll get there with the help of our communities, assistants, as well as business owners and clergy, he said. And a lot of this, ladies and gentlemen, has to do with community activism as well. The community activists, I'm not talking about ministers and stuff like that. The activists have a lot to do with it too, and encouraging and building up people within our community. But as you can clearly see, Chicago is improving, along with many cities around this country where Black people reside. And I think a lot of it, with us, we live under judgment on a regular basis. We know how we're going to be judged, whether it's online or in physical person, we already know. So our people know what to expect. And it's easy to prepare ourselves with very predictable people around us. We know how you think. We know that Black people are always by default suspicious. We, we already know. We after 5 centuries, we know your thinking to a T. We know it to a T. But please tell me, ladies and gentlemen, what you think about this particular piece. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell twice, and I will see you on the next video. And if you can support my channel, please do. And those of you that do support it, I want to thank you from the deepest part of my heart for your support. Peace, family.